What happens when you try to turn a sandbox into an RPG? That's exactly what this game just tried to do. But why would they even do that? Surely this is doomed to fail miserably, right? You see, Blade and Sorcery started out as a VR tech demo way back in 2018 before evolving into a physics-based sandbox fighting game, and it was universally praised for its innovation, and the world lived happily ever after. The sword fighting was precise and satisfying, and there were so many weapons and strategies and maps and magic, and the magic was actually pretty basic, but people loved it. Until they grew bored. They grew tired of endlessly spawning enemies, of arenas with no exit. The people wanted progression. They wanted dungeons, bosses, skills. They wanted an RPG. But whoa! Trying to turn a sandbox into an RPG? If Minecraft has taught me anything, it's that is a horrible idea. This is a game where you can build anything. How did we fuck up so bad that I gotta have slaves? The entire point of an RPG is restrictions. Implicitly, the idea is that you slowly gain power by leveling up or finding new weapons, etc. But those restrictions get really uncomfortable really quickly if you're trying to play a genre which is literally predicated on the idea of no restrictions. In a sandbox like Minecraft, when the player could come from anywhere at any time at whatever speed, the developers can't predict and curate anything specific for the player. So to keep every part of the game accessible at any time, they made every biome, an enemy, and gameplay mechanic very simple and easy and generic. Great for the sandbox. Terrible for the RPG.
Disclaimer, TheStellarJay is not attempting to imply that Minecraft should increase its RPG elements or that it is an RPG in any way, shape, or form. He has simply drawn the conclusion that Minecraft Sandbox rules prevent it from implementing satisfying RPG elements into its gameplay loop. He wants absolutely nothing to do with toxic and insane Minecraft Twitter stands.
But Blade and Sorcery, that's not so hard. It's not like being a sandbox at the core of its very being. Just lock some abilities, make some longer levels, and boom, Crystal Hunt is born. On a technical level, the 1.0 update is insane. Gravity is a harness. I have harnessed the harness. God damn it, the magic in this game is so goddamn cool. Even the simplest little tricks and techniques make you feel like an absolute badass. There's so many spells, so many techniques, combos, synergies that it just... You can ride the staff with fire magic? Your attacks all have this hugely satisfying impact and weight behind them, and it's so easy and intuitive to get those attacks to land. They also removed mana. I love you. This makes it so easy to combo enemies and get that flow state going. Most of the time I ditched my swords and just ran in with my bare fists and found some badass way to steal weapons and kill people with magic. It makes you John Wick. That flow of combat is addicting. You never have to stop and think about what spell you're shooting next or what weapon is best for the scenario, which don't get me wrong, the game definitely rewards players who do that, but you're also completely free to just sprint in, guns blazing, and figure it out on the fly.
Boom, face to face.
Each new skill completely changed how I approached combat and played my route through the levels. Dynamic, free, intuitive, fast-paced, all words that I would use to describe this magic system. And that's only half the goddamn title! The swordplay is so beautifully integrated into the magic system that it doesn't even feel like a separate mechanic. This is a game where I once cut off a man's arm, picked it up, and killed 7 other guards with it. How the fuck are you not playing this game right now, man? And just when you think they can't possibly stay winning, Hector! How's it hanging? Hector is the only enemy in the game whose moves actually feel like they were designed with all these new spells in mind. This fight actually rewards you for using your new abilities, and it's so satisfying to take him down.
Brought your present, look. It's your favorite.
Until you fight him 15 times, what the hell? To fully unlock every ability in the game, you have to kill the same enemies in the same dungeons and beat the same boss 15 times. And herein lies the fault with Blade and Sorcery's transition. But first, thank you to this video's sponsor, REDMAGIC. The REDMAGIC 9S Pro is their newest and most advanced gaming phone to date. Until now, my idea of mobile gaming has always been Temple Run and Clash of Clans, so going through this thing and seeing how advanced gaming phones have gotten really blew me away. This thing has a 120Hz display at 2040-80 by 1116 pixels with 16 gigabytes of RAM and their new ice cooling system for peak gaming performance and 520Hz solar triggers with custom RGB lights. This phone is probably more powerful than the computers 90% of you are watching this on right now. Then of course, switching this red gamer switch will set the phone to gaming mode, where you can conveniently access all of your downloaded games as well as a ton of settings that let you adjust everything from the touchscreen sensitivity, smoothness, and sampling rate to CPU and GPU performance and quality to even color grading. You can save replays, mirror your screen to a monitor, it's insane. Here's me playing Wizard of Legend on it because I'm an addict, but it also handles graphically demanding mobile games like an absolute champ. Oh shit, what is super bass? Yeah. Absolutely incredible. The REDMAGIC 9S Pro is available now at redmagic.gg. Use my link in the description and comment section for more info. Now back to how Blade and Sorcery messed up. All of these enemies were designed for a Blade and Sorcery with much fewer abilities and magic and literally no progression. You just had everything unlocked from the start, you know, like a sandbox. They were made for a game where this was the craziest magic you could do. Isaac, show the viewers what the magic looks like now. What the fuck? Oh my God! When you let the player pick their own abilities, you lose that ability to carefully curate enemies and levels around what abilities you know that they have. When your players have access to everything, they could have anything. So what's the developer forced to do? They're forced to make very generic combat scenarios, levels, and enemies that can be completed with any of the chosen magic abilities. This is a leftover from when it was a sandbox game. These enemies are fundamentally designed with it in mind that the player will have access to a broad spectrum of unspecified spells and weapons in a broad, open arena setting. But then the magic and level design got an update and the fundamental enemy design and spawn locations were forced to change. But they didn't. So the hypothetical most fun way to play this game based on the enemy and level design being applicable to all enemies would be to equally spec into everything, right? But because the cool magic is locked behind heavy specification into 1 or 2 magic trees at a time, players are incentivized to do the exact opposite. It leads to this huge disconnect where after like 2 hours of gameplay, it really starts to get fun. You unlock some cool spells and weapons, you really start to get in the groove. But then at the 3 hours mark, the levels, enemies, and boss get really repetitive because they can't adapt to whatever specific playstyle you've chosen. So the second you get access to the cool spells, you're bored of the enemies you get to use them on. It's just like real life, the second you finally get money to spend, you get bored of all the things you always wanted to spend it on. So if there's any kids watching, you got that existential crisis to look forward to. The progression is also a pile of ass. Listen, okay, the fun part of this game is fighting enemies and doing crazy magic and sword tricks. So why do I gain skill points by picking up a random crystal on some soulless bookshelf in the corner? Hello? Like, you should reward players for doing the fun part of your game. Give them skill points when they kill hard enemies. Maybe give them some challenges that reward extra points. Or maybe like there's a certain type of level or room that takes away your magic, so you gotta use only weapons. Or maybe the exact opposite. You lose all of your weapons and suddenly you gotta rely only on fists and magic. Maybe those levels give you extra skill points. Or maybe they only give you skill points for the branch of magic they're themed around. Or better yet, enemies that do those things. The only thing this system does is give me anxiety that I missed the goddamn crystal. And what is your reward for stomaching all these boring enemies and the same boss over and over and over until you unlock everything? Nothing. The game just goes back to being a sandbox with infinite enemies and levels and nothing to unlock. It just reverts right back to being the same old progressionless fighting simulator as before, but instead of an arena, it's like a 1 to 8 slightly scrambled dungeon layouts. The mechanics are they're so good. They're so good. They're one of the best in any video game I've ever played. But so it just feels like such a waste to leave it like this. I would still probably recommend it. I think it goes about here on the tier list. Thank you to my patrons who pay me to punch my wall in VR, especially Danny Tanga and Sand. Also, at one point while making this video, something on my computer became corrupted and caused Steam VR to blue screen my computer every single time I opened it up. So I literally could not have finished this video if it weren't for YouTubers, Zeke Waters, and downloadable content graciously recording some footage for me in my hours of need. They are the only reason this video is possible. Please go show them some love. They make VR content. Thank you very much. See ya!